Good morning. It's Monday. I love Mondays. I also sound like a man. I do. Normally I get this thing where the allergies are like, hey, you thought you were a female. It's cute. But like end of August. And so now I have this thing going on and surprise. It's like living with deciduous plants who just, never know what they're going to do. And joke's on me, you can develop allergies at any point in your life. So here we go. All right, so today we're going to talk about getting serious in your business, ditching this whole dabbling nonsense, and actually growing something sustainable, steady income, doing what you love in the online space without paying for ads. And before we get into that, I just want to say, I want to recognize that it's Memorial Day today, and I know that a lot of people are not working in the United States. And for those of you who don't know, the Memorial Day in the United States is for active duty military who have died while in active duty. So, hey, Crispin, so we're remembering them today, and I'll be doing some work. So that's what today's about, and this is going to be a 5-day training series. So for those people who have not been around me in trainings, I move quickly. So that I can get you as much information as possible, as quick as possible. So best to take notes or, have a computer. I type faster, so then I write. So I typically will take my notes on a computer. But we've got work to do because this is, for the people who need it, it's time. It is time. How long have you been on social media with a business which people may or may not know about, that you are not making consistent income with every month to month, and you're not growing month to month? If it's been longer than like 6 months, it's time. And for those of you who are like, well, I just kind of got started, you're in luck. This is what you want to be here for. You want to be here for this training so you can actually avoid the mistakes and stop wasting time. So many people that I've talked to, even current clients of mine, are saying, man, I sat on this for 6 years. I sat on this for 20 years. I sat on this for 30 years. 30 years. Because of a couple of things, because of fear, because of not knowing what to do, really just afraid to put themselves out there. What are people going to think or whatever? And although social media hasn't been around for 30 years, they're not jumping into their idea for fear or for not knowing which path to take. So my aim is to solve that today for you, because when you learn how to do this right, you get to do what you love. You get to really do what you enjoy and what you're good at. But you have the benefits of, hey, Vera, good morning. You have the benefits of living a flexible lifestyle and having the freedom financially to do whatever you want with. And most people that I work with will, like, their whatever I want with the money is paying off their debt, paying off their student loans, being able to afford, vacations with their family whenever they feel like it, being able to afford a couple nicer things in their home, or nicer clothes for their kids, or the fact that they just don't have to say no to so much anymore because they have more financial freedom. Now they've got investments. Now they've got room to move. They don't have to report to a boss. It's a different kind of stress that you trade off by being full-blown entrepreneur versus being an employee in any sense. And cost and benefit to both, but I've found personally, having been in the corporate life for so long and now being an entrepreneur for the last 6-7 years, it is absolutely worth the trade-off. And I have 4 kids, and I do not work more than 40 hours a week. I typically work 32 to 36 hours a week. It is more than possible. I have several businesses. This is what's possible for you if you can just rip the lid off and say, I'm going to focus. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to try. I'm going to do it. Because trying is an escape hatch to saying, well, if I didn't do all the things, then it's fine because I don't have egg on my face because I said I'd try. And everybody knows that try is a cop-out. So if you can remove the language try from your vocabulary and just do it, then let's do it. Okay, so for people who have made money in their business, or maybe they haven't made any money yet because they're just starting out, maybe this is for you. If you don't know exactly what you're doing, you've tried some things, not everything's been successful, you've had some here and there successes, you feel like maybe you've gotten more lucky, you don't have systems in place for yourself yet, maybe you love what you're doing but you wish you could do it more full time, maybe you've had some income from this, like I said, but you're not getting steady and consistent income every month to month. And that steady income shouldn't stay steady. It should be growing month to month, right? So that's what you want in your business, because if a business isn't growing, it's dying. So you want less stress. You want less confusion. You want less nerves and fear around it, less tension. You want more reliability, and you want to show up in a way that feels good and safe because you're making money and your clients are getting served. So over the next 5 days, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be building on the trainings that we're going through. So it's not going to be like, hey, if you don't make this training, just, you know, on day 4 you'll catch up. You won't catch up unless you follow all the day's trainings. They're built like that on purpose so that you can consume all this and it makes sense together. So pen and pencil and paper if you're doing it that way. Otherwise, do it with a computer, take the notes. You're going to need them because I'll be doing step-by-step stuff with you. So feel free to show up in the comments too and ask questions. I will answer them as we go. Absolutely, I will. That's what this is for. A little bit of live training, a little bit of coaching involved here because why not? We're here. So I'm going to be making sure that I'm on track with my notes because I do pop back and forth between what I'm talking about and the comments so that you guys get served that way. But what we won't be talking about this week is if you're right now today, we're going to be doing more content. How to create content that slams, content that brings your buyers back, content that makes people look forward to what you're doing, content that actually converts into sales. That's what we're talking about today. So it's not about logo. It's not about your website. It's not about the funnels. It's not about having 10,000 followers. It's not about getting paid ads going. It's not about cold messaging in the DMs. Never, ever, ever, ever going to be about that. It's not what you need to make money. So you need content that's consistent and quality. Your content isn't alone going to be like, oh, this is perfect. This is what I need. I landed on this piece of content. I'm going to be a buyer now. It gives your buyer context about who you are, what you do, how you work, and what they need. It helps them frame that. And there's ways to get good quality content out to them in a consistent manner in a way that doesn't overwhelm you every day. So again, pen and paper. But first, so we're going to go step by step through this content stuff. But I want to say that when it comes to content, the stuff that hits the hardest is the stuff where your personal life is injected into the content. It's injected into the story, it's injected into the post, it's injected into the live. And I'm not talking about like airing all your dirty laundry and letting everybody know every aspect of your life. I'm talking about bringing your day into your material, bringing your experience into the post that you write, bringing your conversation that you had that's relevant to what you're training on, bringing that to the post that you're about to write, and just dribble things in so that people remind themselves, oh yeah, she or he is a relatable person that understands what I'm going through. They live a similar lifestyle. They might be doing well, but that doesn't make them different from me, right? So injecting your personal life into the posts is pretty necessary if you want to stop being stale on social media, because anything that you have, people can get for free on Google, on YouTube, on anywhere, anything. So we are not special that way when it comes to what we know. It's how we say it. It's how we support, it's how we deliver, and it's how we make them feel seen. So your job, your responsibility within your content, if you want to start converting people, it's to be a real human being, be authentic, like really, really real, and also injecting your personal life into the content that you write. Andrew Sanchez is just preaching out here. Oh, the good Lord has spoken. Andrew is here. Okay, so welcome to the party, Andrew. Let's pretend you're in America and you can like have freedom and stuff today, okay? Awesome. So let's make sure that you keep the you in the content that you write, and I'm gonna talk about how to do that. So if you didn't know that was important before, I'm telling you it's critical. And if you did know that it was important before, and you're like, oh, I just don't want to. I'm gonna tell you that you need to, that's like foundational. You're going to need to decide whether or not you're serious about the business, about really connecting with these people in a relationship-based way. Otherwise, like, go pay for ads, like, go use the numbers, like, go heavy on the numbers, go invest in ads. If you want to convert organically on social media with a relationship where people get to know you and then they want to buy from you because they can't get enough of you, you're going to have to inject your story. And how you can do that is by getting out of your own stuff, getting out of your own self, and start focusing on them. If those people were in front of you, hurting in whatever way that you can help with, picture them on the other side of your table, your couch, your whatever, or the passenger seat in your car, and they're hurting and they're talking to you about that, would you hold back your life experience? Would you hold back a story that's relevant from your past that would help them, as long as it's not like exposing other people in your life? You know what I mean? Like, just, I'm talking about random day-to-day life stories, okay? Would you hold that back from them, knowing that that would help them anchor in the teaching or training that you're doing? Would you hold it back? Like, would you? Because what you should know is that there are other human beings on the other side of this camera, on the other side of the lens, the screen, wherever you're looking at this, and they've got lungs, a heartbeat, a brain, a story, a history. They have purpose. Help them. Your story actually matters. Andrew, do I need to wear a mask today? Not in America, my friend. I guess not anymore anywhere around here, almost. And then... Crispin, not special. Speak for yourself. Hell, I'm special. Sandra, come on. Crispin, you're a different kind of special. Know what I mean? Hey, Sharon, welcome. Oh, welcome, love. So I can't wait to see you, Sharon. This is going to be so fun. So ask yourself, would you hold back from them? Because it's no different. Just because the social media game is like, oh, I don't know, they're a bunch of strangers, or they're faceless or whatever. They're real. They're real. You guys are real. You're in the comments with me right now. Like, we're hanging out together. It's the same thing as you would do it in person. It's just that there's a screen between you guys. So please keep it real with them, and remember that it's the mindset that has to start first before you start developing your content, before you start writing, because you'll never do it. You'll never do it right unless your mindset's on board for what do they need, how can I help them, they need me now. So if you have, another thing is, if you struggle with creating content because it's like, oh my gosh, content's so hard, drop it in the comments if content is annoying for you. If content's like, whew, that's an overwhelming game. I don't like it. It takes too much of my time. It's confusing. I sit there in front of the computer and I spend like 30 minutes and I come up with 2 sentences. Like, if that's what, Crispin, if that's what it's like for you, let me know if that's the kind of feeling you get from content, because I'm gonna help you out. Yeah, Crispin, different kind of special. That's where it's at. So because most people will create content, like one piece of content at a time. They'll wake up on a Monday and they'll be like, okay, what am I going to post today? And then they'll think of something to post, and maybe they'll like scroll on the internet and what is so-and-so posting? What are people talking about? I don't know, what's relevant? Let me see the news. Like, let me see like an influencer that I follow. What are they saying? And then people typically try to write from there. So that is a stressful, time-consuming, time-wasting approach to creating content, and it could be a lot easier and a lot faster than that. That's not a system. That doesn't create a system for you, and that makes it a huge challenge, a time-consuming lift, and mental energy is exhaustive. So you need a system and process. So take your notebook. Here's where we're going to do the note stuff. Amy, content flows organically when I think about it, but when I sit down to write it, it sounds forced. Totally. Okay, so I'm going to help with this, Amy. You and I operate in a similar fashion that way, and even though we do in a specific way, there are so many people that have that struggle in the same vein. So, okay. First of all, you have ideas that typically come in certain ways, right? Shower's a great one. Usually driving with like good music on at a stoplight, or standing in line, or maybe you're just like going for a walk. Sometimes people do that while they're exercising. They get really good ideas. Like, they get into kind of like a flow state more or less when it comes to thinking and creativity. Those times I want you to pay attention. So, and write it down. Think about your day. Truly think about your day. When do those times typically happen? Do they happen for you when you're in the shower? Do they happen to you when you're exercising? Is there a pocket of time during the day where you are really like focused? My time is around 11 to 4 p.m. It's a pretty big window for me that I have considered flow time. If nobody is talking to me, if I don't have anything scheduled, I can sit down and crank out solid creative material that makes sense to me, that feels good, that's very, very much me, and I can do it quickly. So in that pocket of 11 to 4, around once or twice a month, I will create the entire month's worth of content. And it is sitting batched ready for me to go. It's because I'm not doing it before 10 a.m., first of all, because you guys are catching me before 10 a.m. And if I didn't have notes right now, I'd be asleep on my desk. I'm almost useless to my team before like 11, and they know that. So they try not to ever have meetings with me before then. So, and they totally kick me off calls too at 4 o'clock. They're like, get her out of here. She's reached her limit. So pay attention to the times for you. Yes, Amy, always in the shower. Sandra, about to drop the goods right here. Content. Okay, perfect. Okay, so all right. So first of all, so you're paying attention to when this happens, right? And so Amy, for if it's in the shower, if it's in the shower, I would have, like I have had, right on the counter outside of the shower, a like my voice recording app out. So I'd hit it, start talking. I would start talking about the ideas that are in my head flowing, and I would leave it open as long as I was like in the shower, until I was done thinking. I wouldn't be talking the whole time. I'm like, just, you know, if something comes to me, I'll say it out loud, because your hands are wet and you're not going to be able to text or whatever, and you don't want to lose the thought, because those thoughts go quick, don't they? Like, they come quick and they leave quick. And so same thing, I've done it when I'm riding my bike. If I'm riding my bike, I can't just keep pulling over and like putting a note in my phone about what I just thought about. I will, I'll have the voice recording app open and then on my wrist, and hit the button and start talking about what I'm thinking, and then hit the button and I'm done. And then later on, I will gather all of these inspired ideas about content that really slaps for the people that I'm trying to talk to, and I'll put it in one location. I won't have it all over the place. I'm not gonna have it in a note section, an email, in an app, like one place. So I typically use an Excel spreadsheet to organize my my content information, but I also, depends on what we're talking about, but I also use Asana. And Asana is like Trello or like Monday kind of. It's just an app that helps you organize. But first of all, knowing those times of the day that you're really like sparked is really important, and then having a place to put those ideas, so that when you have the energy and focus to sit down and write your content, you already have the idea ready to go. So for instance, if I am riding my bike at 6 p.m. and I'm hitting the recording option, and I'm hitting it, and I'm talking about the content that is gonna do really well, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are gonna love that. People ask me this all the time. Why didn't you talk about it like this yet? And I hit the recording, and then when I get home, like before night, because I always do like cleanup time, kind of like housekeeping before I go to bed, like for the next day's work. So I'll throw that information into my content planner that I've made for myself, and with a little bit of context, like this topic plus da 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 da, I'll write some kind of like subtopic or some kind of contextual piece around it, so I remember what I was thinking and how I wanted to write that based on what I gave myself in the audio note. Then the next day, where's my flow time? 11 to 4 p.m. If I don't have anything scheduled, if I have time available to sit there and flow and write, I'll sit there for 2 hours maybe, and I will airplane mode it on my phone, turn off all notifications, like be dialed into my content, and I'll start writing on all the stuff that I kind of like organized and grabbed and put in my content planner from the day before. I do this when I have the energy and focus to do it, and I have to always store the ideas when they come, because they leave me quickly. A lot of times people will say like, oh, did you forget what you're saying? I'm sorry. Well, it'll come back to you. It doesn't come back to me. It doesn't come back. So I have to get it, like I have to grab it right away. And having things all over the place for yourself is a really easy way to get overwhelmed with content and ideas, and feeling like you're not able to catch up. So I would suggest that for sure. Another thing that I want you to do is to write down specifically, and I know, Amy, that you have that you've identified this for yourself, which is amazing. It's a really, really great start. Who are you talking to? Get super specific. When you say, like, number one, write this down, number one, who am I talking to? Question mark. Fill it in. Who are you talking to? Who is your ideal client? What do they look like? What is their age range? Where do they live? And where do they live could mean like any English-speaking country around the world, right? If that's your language, or if you're, you know, like we have a client who's Lithuanian, and she is targeting Lithuanian women. It's that language, that's where they live, and that's who she's talking to. So that's what she would say. Are they professionals? Do they have children or not? Are they empty nesters? What are their extracurriculars like? What are their opinions on certain things? What is their background probably like? What is their experience with this thing that I teach typically about? So that you get super specific. You understand these people so well that when you're writing about the content, you write it for them, so that they can hear it, so that it's their language, it's the way they would receive it, it's the way they would say it to their friends. Because if you know your ideal client, that dream client that you're meant to work with, the person that you're so good at helping, if you know them well, and you're really, like, you've written it out, you've gotten the details down, then you're like centered in who they are. Then your content makes sense. Nikki, the Queen of England is here, I love you. Your content has to be for them. It can't be about like, here's a billboard for me to talk about me and all the stuff that I've done. It has to be about, Here's what they need. Here's what they're going through. Let me relate it back to their life. You relate it back to their experiences based on what you know about them. Amy, no, it'll never come back. That's the price that the universe takes for inspiration. Yeah. It's like, oh, it'll come. Like, seriously. And I know several other people that have ADHD that have that problem too. They're like, no, I got to say it now. I got to say it right now. And I'm like, please write it down. I'm not done yet. I'll lose mine. So make sure you're writing that down, who they are specifically, get detailed about it. And if you're still thinking about like, geez, I don't know who my perfect person is to work with, think about who you've worked with in the past that lights you up the most. Like, who do you have more energy to work with? What type of person? Like, what was her name? Like, who was she? How did she talk to you? Like, how did she email? What was her, what was fun about her? Like, that person. Think about that person when you're writing, and you can feel free to riff as though you'd be speaking in your post if you're writing it. And same thing if you're talking. Like, this is how, for those of you who've hung out with me, this is how I speak. Like, I talk to you in this way on my lives, like I talk to my friends and family. Like, this is how I talk. So you'll see it in my posts when I write. I don't say things like I'm going to. I say I'm gonna, because that's how I talk. So it sounds weird to me when I write it. I'm like, what am I trying to be, a professor? I know that's not really like highbrow English, but I still pretend that that's what I need to do. So, but that helps people read it. It helps it flow better. It helps people consume it. When they are your person and they're reading and talking like that, like you talk, it's going to be well received with them. So my style of speech is not for everybody. It's not going to resonate with everybody at all. It's going to resonate with the people who get me. And everybody else can like go do their own thing, because I'm not here for them and they're not here for me, and it's good. Like, we should not be hanging out with people we don't belong with, right? We have a limited amount of resources, energy, time, and focus. So that's what it is. So you then, number one, you're talking about who they are, get super specific. Number two, what are they dealing with? I want you to list out all of the problems, if you haven't yet, all of the problems that they've suffered with as it relates to your expertise and how you can help them. What did they go through? What was it like for them in the beginning? What do they want out of it? What is the other side of that suffering for them? What are they hoping to change? What are they hoping to get through? What are they hoping to get through with what kind of like level of pain? You know, like sometimes people are like, oh, they have to invest this much time. They have to go through these feelings to get on the other side of it. They've got to invest money in order to learn the tactical whatever. Like, think about that, because that's going to be important for your content too. You're going to write to that. Though all those pieces are going to be important, so that, like, as I'm saying, walk these out. Number three, like, write down their ideal future. What does their ideal future look like? When you're talking about 1, 2, and 3 that I've just listed out, who they are, what their pain points are, and what their future needs to look like for them, like, what do they desperately want out of this thing, out of this transformation that you'll be able to provide? When you have all those things written down, and then you've got this time where your ideas are sparking and you've got this creativity, inspiration's happening, that stuff comes together like a big bang. It's like, oh, now I've got it. And if you give yourself time to write, if you've got pockets of time, like, carved out for yourself where you're like, I'm good, I'm focused, I'm energetic, I'm clear at these times, I'm going to make sure that I have 2 days a week that I do that. Or I'm going to make sure I have 1 day a week that I do that, every week that I do that. Or I'm going to make sure I have 3 to 4 hours every 2 weeks to do that, so I can bang out the whole month and it's no big deal. And because you've got the context, you understand the people, you have the ideas and the inspiration. Heck, you do this for a living, right? Like, you do this is your expertise. So it's not hard for you. It's just a matter of like, how do I deliver it? Mostly that's where people get stuck. How do I deliver this to these people in a way that they care, or that they will get help, or whatever? So, hey, Heidi, hey, Chad, how are you? Isn't it bedtime for you in Australia right now? That's okay. Don't tell your mom. Stay up late. Hang out with us. Okay. So that's when that happens. And you will struggle always if you're trying to create content day to day. You'll struggle if you're trying to create content when you're tired. You'll struggle when you're trying to create content when you've got other things going on. It's really difficult. It's really difficult, and it ends up being burnout zone, and you don't want to create content anymore. And forget about showing up live. That's like, no. It won't happen. And if you tried to force that, it would feel super weird for you and everybody watching, because it's not like authentic. It doesn't feel good. You're not in the vibe of it. Dude, I am a mafioso boss. That's what's up. Don't mess. I came to play today. Content's important, in case I need to know about this. Hey, Monica, how are you? Oh, it's good to see you guys. I got a good crew here. Okay, so if you know what your future, or like what your ideal dream client, if you know what their outcome needs to look like, if you know them well, like, write it in the comments what your ideal client, like, I'd love to see who you're working with. What does your ideal client want out of working with you, or somebody that they're looking to work with? Do you know it? And if you know it, Please write it down so that people can start seeing like, oh yeah, that's the end game. That's the outcome that people are looking for. That is, again, the base for all of this content. Yeah, I'm drinking McDonald's. At what time in the morning? I am. It's Diet Coke. Normally I have water here to spill on myself, but guess what I forgot today, guys? Water. Just kidding. I do have water, but it tastes like plastic. Time out. You ready? No. Smart. What? No. Bottled water. I mean, I can't drink bottled water anymore. It tastes like plastic. It's so gross. I use my own filtered water from home in a glass bottle. I can't do it. Can't do it. Okay, Kajans, dentists who get freedom and fulfillment from their burnout. Yes. So dentists who are basically escaping burnout, trying to get freedom and fulfillment through their job, right? And Keijan knows he's a dentist as well, and he knows that segment of the population, the burnout is high. It's at a high rate. He's out there helping people because the alternative is they quit, or worse, they have drug problems. That leads to suicide. There's a lot of really, really heavy issues surrounding dentists in this way. So, hey, Chaz Hole's our director of coaching. He's Chaz-tasticals most days, but sometimes I give him a hard time, and he's Chaz Hole today. I don't know, just felt right. So, like, I know my clients are typically women in the 35 to 55-year-old range. These women are typically mothers, not always, but typically mothers, and they're typically married or divorced. And they are typically outdoor lovers in some way, like they are active or they used to be athletes. They are highly driven women. They're ambitious. They're focused. They're not complainers. They're not whiners. They have humor. They like know how to have a good time. They know how to get down to business. They don't make excuses though. Like they're like, yeah, I didn't do this. I own my stuff. Whatever. What do I need to do to get back on track? Like these are the women I love to work with because it's so easy to make progress with them. Like people that are like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it all day long. I will show up with so much energy for that. But for the people who refuse to look at their own stuff, who whine and complain and make excuses and don't end up following through and quit early, like I have a lot of compassion for them and love for them, but I can't work with them because pouring out, and think about that for you, pouring out all of your energy to somebody in order to advance them into the next level and having them show up in like a half-ass format, it's so exhausting. You literally feel like you're being wasted. Not only your time, but like your persona is being wasted because these people aren't taking it seriously. So I'm very specific about who I work with. Yeah, Chaz-tasticals, Keisha. It's amazing. Hey, girl. Hey, Chaz, we have to get with Kira this weekend. We got content to create. Let's do it. Chaz and I have a new approach to content. We'll talk about it in our mastermind. Heidi says, where to go? Heidi says, passionate mother business owners looking to be more present with their family. So important. And women are dying for that, but they're having a hard time doing it because of everything that's going on lately, right? So that's important, Heidi, and I know you've got the heart for it. So Monica said, this is a great service, and I've worked in the dental field for many years. Know a few dentists that committed suicide from the pressure and expectation. Yeah, it's awful, Monica. It's freaking terrible. It's terrible. My sister-in-law is a dentist. She's amazing, but she feels it too. She feels the burnout too, and the expectation. So knowing who they are, right? Knowing what they need, like getting deeply involved in that, and sometimes it's just a matter of like sitting down and thinking, who's my favorite person to work with? Who was that? Think about them. Think about all the things about them, and get into that space with them. I'm telling you, you combine that with what do they want out of working with you, how much pain they're in, and then put that all together into a time where you can actually flow when you've got energy and focus, and you can create content from there. Plus you've got all this content hanging out in one location for you because you've been storing it in the same spot every time you get inspired. This is how we start to create systems. This is the beginning of your content systems. So and the reason that I know what I know about the women that I work with is because I ask them. And I need you to ask them. Like your people need you to ask them what they're doing. You need to ask all kinds of questions. And you never need to stop asking questions. I'm constantly digging in, trying to find out what do they like best? What do they need more of? What was most helpful? What are they going through now? What kind of language do they use? What are the words that they're using? That's stuff that you're going to want to put into your content, because that's going to be, when you're doing that and you're writing in that way, that's when people start to go, oh my God, do you have a camera in my house? Like, how did you, like, that's exactly, I feel like I just said that verbatim to my best friend. People tell me that all the time. Do you have a camera in my house? All the time. I know them. I know them so well. And so I'm speaking from a place of knowing that person, and then we forget, like, oh yeah, we have so many similarities. It's not just me, it's this person too. It's like all these women that have this stuff, and no wonder it feels like there's a camera in my home, because we're struggling with similar things. So I want you to write those answers down, keep track of those, and keep track of like what I'm saying, like those 1 through 3s. And find your time during the day that you can actually flow in this. And if you have a, like I have a template that I've created that our clients get that's, it's an Excel template that helps you organize your material. And if you're on here from the academy and you love the content planner, let them know how great that is to be organized with that stuff, because for me that made the biggest difference. That kept that one, when I started implementing it, I went from like one post randomly a week or every week and a half to posting every day for the last like 365 days. I typically don't post on the weekends, but other than that, like, it'd be weird if you caught me not posting in a day. I just have so much content ready to go. It's like a copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. I just have it. It's done. The content calendar is absolute fire. It's like fire that's been doused in gasoline, kerosene, and jet fuel. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of content calendar you want. So that's what it can do for you. So do you think I have any stress around content whatsoever? Zero. The only thing I have to do is like, when am I gonna go live? Like, that's the only thing I have to worry about. And it makes it so much easier. So you show up a lot more fun with a lot more energy, and you get to do things that you're focused on more. Like, hey Anna, you get to do things that are the money-making activities. So do you see how, like, when you compartmentalize your content, you create systems around it, you bulk batch that content so that you have all this stuff ready to go, so that your people are nurtured, they understand that you get them, they're getting help while you're out here going and making money and like serving clients and bringing on new people. That's how this stuff works together. I don't think, is kerosene jet fuel, Crispin? I feel like jet fuel's a whole different animal. Because kerosene's like that old school stuff that people used to like put in the glass lanterns back in like the 1800s, right? No? I thought jet fuel was like extreme gas technology. Yes, Amy, knock out some content this week. I know you can. And that's the thing, like, Amy, you've got 4 kids, I've got 4 kids. I know you got a lot going on. Same. That's the only way it's possible for me too. Otherwise, I was just like, I just wouldn't do it. It was overwhelming, and I hated it. And like people tag me like, oh, content queen, oh my gosh, like the content maven and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, if I heard somebody say that like 2 years ago, I would have been like, I don't even show up. So having this like treasure trove of topic ideas is just a golden. So basically, if anybody wants, actually in the chat, why don't we do this in the chat? If you have a extreme gas technology. If you have a topic that that you're struggling with, and you're like, okay, Sandra, help me create content around this. Drop a comment in like what you're struggling with, like what you're having a hard time creating content around. I'll help you out. Because what you can do with that is basically frame it by letting them know, like, you got to have a hook, right? When you're creating content, whether it is a live video, a pre-recorded video, a post, whatever. A hook is just basically like, imagine the fish. The hook grabs them. It grabs them, or like that cane on the stage. It grabs them and gets their attention for a second, because we're so freaking busy in our lives. And then social media is like, look over here, look over here, look over here. It's so insane. Unless you have a good hook and a reason for them to stop scrolling, they're gonna miss it. They're just gonna miss it. And they're gonna be like, I don't even know if I'm interested in this, but I don't care to find out because I'm bored. I'm bored already. Oh, so kerosene is jet fuel. That's amazing. I thought it was advanced tech. Oh, that's too bad. I'm so disappointed. I'm like really disappointed about that. Kerosene sounds so ancient. If you don't post your content. I am. Pulp Fiction is about to throw down. Joanne, how are you? Hey, Lee. Okay, so if you guys don't have any problems with your content, you're like, I'm good to go, I don't need your help, lady, that's fine too, but we can move on. But if you do, I'm gonna help you out real quick. So pick one topic. When you sit down, you pick one topic. You have this content bank full of topics, right? You pick one topic and you focus on that one thing. So if it's going to be like, if I'm talking about content versus sales versus organic marketing versus like branding versus email content management versus like team management versus growth strategies versus blah, 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 those are all different categories, right? So I would sit down and I would talk about one of those categories. Okay, branding. Let's dive deep into branding. And then I'm going to talk about different colors and why they resonate and what they actually mean and what the subconscious does with them. And then I'm going to talk about font and how that plays with those colors and how that plays with your brand and who you are and da-da-da-da. I'm going to talk about that. Then maybe the next post, I'm going to talk about what I thought about branding before I knew anything about branding. And then maybe the next post, I'll talk about like a good brand versus a bad brand so you can see the differences. And then maybe the next post I would talk about how I've worked with brands to develop their brand in a better way. And do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how that flows when you're in one topic at a time and you're sitting down and you're focused? If you're focused on one content at a time, then that naturally brings up more ideas about that thing, right? And you start breaking down your content and your post topics into further and further and further posts, because you can't you could go on, this is your expertise, you could go on forever about this stuff, but let's not do that in one post, please, because people are gonna get tired and bored. So that's how you can get really, really efficient with your, okay, sitting down for 2 to 4 hours and cranking out a month's worth of content. How does she do that? That's how I do it. And not every single day should you post about, like with these long form post content topics. Like not everybody has time to read all that. People want to see variety. People want to see fun things. People want to see light things. They want to see video, pre-recorded, live, memes, whatever. Like you don't have to write these heavy, heavy things all the time. So some of your posts could just be an inspired idea or a question or a funny slant on what you're teaching. You know what I mean? So like that's how you can just, you think about it that way and you can crank. So having a bank of ideas, having a template to write in them so that you know, so that you're topic by topic and you can focus on one thing at a time, doing that thing during the time when you have energy while you already have that person in mind, that dream client, locked and loaded, and you know them well, you know them through and through, and you're gonna be using their language, speaking their language, talking about their stuff, being in their life, having CCTV footage in their kitchen, but don't really, please, dear God, don't. Amy, you like that? Good. Okay, Jen, that makes sense. Perfect. And you need, okay, so help contact, connect, you need help with content to connect to your dentist. Okay. So, and Andrew, yes, we need UFO fuel immediately. Okay, so yeah, Amy, hyper focus, right? Like once you're in the zone, it's like nothing else even exists. All right, Cajun, so for your dentist, the stuff that they're struggling with, the burnout, right? You can have burnout be one specific topic, and then subcategories around burnout, like their hours of work. Talking about their hours of work, talking about the toxicity within the office, and maybe ways that you can address that, how they can be helped by that. What are some things they can say or do within management, with their associates, with their hygienists, with their patients, helping them through with systems that help them create a better flow in their day, systems that make it easier for them to get along with people, or creating boundaries in their office around these things so that they can implement those boundaries as they figure it out, right? Like there are so many different ways. How about the nutrition side of things for burnout? I mean, if you're working, 14 hours a day, 5-6 days a week as a dentist, and you're also eating fast food because you haven't prepared, because you're just like, whatever, I just need to throw something in my face. Imagine what kind of stress that does in the body and mind when you're already dealing with the emotional and physical stress of like working through that environment, right? So talking about the nutritional aspect, talking about energy, talking about exercise, talking about sleep patterns, going deep on it. Like I did this in our clinic. We had, in our health clinic, I did a whole series for like a month and a half on sleep studies, on what you can do, different truths about sleeping, facts, scientifically backed facts with all of these university studies about why sleep does what it does, what you can get out of it, how you can improve your sleep, and what that long and short-term effect is on you. That's applicable to dentists too. That's applicable to almost all of us. I should probably do another sleep training. But Monica, having troubles with your internet. That's okay, you can come back, love. Okay, you're welcome, Keijen. So I hope that makes sense to you, because when you're thinking about their struggles, just go deeper. Go deeper. Don't go wide and hit like all the things, right? Like especially not in one post, but think about what they struggle with most and go deep with that, and then chunk that off into different posts, into different trainings, into different videos, whatever. But when you're thinking about that person and you're kind of mapping out who they are and what their life is like, think about it in a wide sense, and about like personal life, their health life, their work life, their relationship life, like their romantic relationship life, talk about their financial struggles, talk about like whatever, right? Maybe their upbringing, Think about them in a sense of everything, universally, holistically. Who is that person? But then when you're writing content for them, talk about their pains and their you know, their hopeful outcome, like the pleasure points and the pain points. What do they want to get out of this stuff, and what can you help them with, and what are they struggling with? You go deep on those two things for them. That's where they're going to need the most help. That's what they want. So where we are, sorry, I'm catching up on these notes. Burnout is common across all types of work. Of course. Yeah, Lee, it totally is. Oh, I bet you have a good presentation on sleep. Okay, good. Keijan, I want you making content this week like crazy. Perfect. Amazing. Am I getting everything? Sometimes it like bounces back. Okay. So that's what we need. I'm hoping that's helpful. Like this, your systems are going to be critical if you want to get consistent months. If you want to get a business that's not only steady but growing month to month, you're going to need systems. And creating like one-off haphazard posts and content isn't going to inspire your audience, because they're going to be like, oh, they do it part-time. Oh, they're kind of like doing it sometimes or whatever. I'm going to go to somebody who does it all the way, because I'm not going to invest any money, not $5, not $1,000, not $10,000 in anybody that's doing this part-time, when I could go to that person who's doing it all the time, because I want real help. So part of that is going to be showing up in a consistent way, right? So having systems to do that so you don't get burnt out is really important, essential. And when you're doing this in an organic fashion, and you're not just like paying for ads and like hoping you get whomever, you build this base of like raving fans, and you're curating your own base. When you're running ads like that, you're getting whomever to pay in a funnel sense, and they come in and they don't, and they whatever, you get whoever. And you can try to target them based on your ad structure, and you can try to target them based on their copy. But when you are doing this in organic fashion, you are getting exactly who you want. You're deciding who you bring on, you're deciding who to speak to, who to connect with, and then you basically have these discovery calls, and you find out if they're somebody you really want to work with or not. It's not a sales call, it's an interview. You can see if you want to work with these people or not. So this is the difference. So that's why in the beginning, especially, and you can do this your whole life organically. You don't have to be paying for ads in order to scale your business. So, but when you do it like this, you can have so much more fun in your business, because you're picking the people you feel like working with. You get the best of the best, and it's so much fun. Keijan, did you see that? Lee's talking about talking later. And so, hey, Chantel. I don't know if you meant that for me or him, Lee, but I will see you later, Lee, at the party. And what time's our party? It's coming up soon. Oh my gosh, I should hurry. Okay, so but having those systems are essential, and it's not just about content. You have to have systems in everything, so that when you have those low energy days, or those low focus days, or those lack of sleep days, or the days where like the deciduous trees decide to like spark a new allergy in you and you sound like a man, so I can still show up and like pop into my systems. I like drop myself into the systems that are already working for me. I have a plan, I have a schedule, it all cranks. Like I don't have to do heavy, deep thinking work every day, because I have systems set up to support me, to support my clients, to support my content, to support all of it, right? So I don't have to rely on having high energy, being amazing every day, like with health and focus and everything, because you couldn't anyway. You never could do that every day. So so once you start posting like this content consistently, you're going to start really seeing you're going to start seeing people commenting more. You're going to start seeing them show up in your DMs. And when you do this is a really important piece of it. When you do this, when you're creating content like this and people start to comment, keep the conversation going. There's nothing better than helping them more than they thought they were going to get help. And there's also nothing better than finding out more about these people, right? Finding out more about your ideal client is golden, so that you can write better content, so you can connect with them, so you can help them more if they need it. The people that will comment to me on my things, like they're like, oh, this is great. I want to know what was so great about it. I want to know what helped you most. I want to dig into that, and so that I can double down on that, create content about that a little bit more. If that was the most helpful thing, I'll extract that piece, do a different training on that later if it's helpful. You know what I mean? And that way you can really serve your community best. So do not leave those comments unread. I don't think most people would in this community. I think that you guys have been hearing enough of what to do and what not to do for a while to know that, but that is the beginning of creating that solid client relationship. You don't have to beg for clients, because people know that you show up for them. They know that you're committed. They know that you have the stuff, and they just have to be ready or not to work with you. That just sparked Fuji's Lauryn Hill. Now I won't get that song out of my head. Thanks a lot, brain. Hang on. I'm amazing every day. Crispin, you're full of lies. Oh my gosh, how she can get sidetracked and get back in the zone masterclass. So, Cajun, that honestly, like when I have these live trainings, sorry, I've got like my cell phone holder that's like, I have my notes up all the time because I don't want to lose track for you guys. I don't want to be like, wait, what'd you say? Because I do, like I said earlier, I will lose the idea and then it's gone for good. So I have to keep my bullet points up to know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'll lose it for you, and that's like boring for everybody. Okay, so we're gonna show up tomorrow. What's tomorrow about? Hang on. We're doing another training tomorrow, so I know we've hit almost an hour here. And if you guys have questions about that content stuff, questions about how I'm doing it and what I was explaining, if you need me to break that down in a way that sounds better or is easier for you to understand, let me know, because I can always hit it in the comments later. But I'm going to be doing more trainings all through the week. So this is something that like I want you to have. Is that Sohini? Is that who that is? Yes. Hello. I want you to have consistent income months. I think that there's nothing more tragic than having a God-given skill set, experience, and passion about something, and then not doing the thing because you didn't learn the right steps for it. You should be making money doing what you love. It's your calling. It's what you're meant to do. If you have a fire in your belly for something that you're good at, you should be making money doing it so that you can keep doing it for other people, so that you can do it for more and more people, and that they can refer more people that need your help. It's about helping people who need help, right? And so if you're giving that up, it's not about the money. Money just helps us do stuff that we can do better. Like money makes things easier. Money helps us invest in different things, whatever. But like it's about growing your ability to serve and help. That's why you're here. You're not put on this earth to make gobs of money and just sit in it like Scrooge McDuck. You're here to make a difference and to impact lives. Guess what? You can do a lot more of that with a lot more money. So let's actually start making some money online so that you can go do that thing, so that it's not stressful, it's fun, it's inspired. You get goosebumps when people give you testimonials because their life changed so much. I'm telling you, it will light a bigger fire than you ever knew you had when you start doing what your purpose is and doing it for a living and exchanging money for that. It's incredible. You have all the energy in the world to give, and it's amazing. Perfect, Keijan, I want you back in the game. Honestly, like when we're talking about what we're talking about with you especially, lives are actually on the line. Like you have lives on the line right now. They are dentists that need your help, and suicide is a real issue on the other side of that. So think about that for your client. Before I go, think about what happens to them if you're not helping them. Think about what kind of pain they're in. Are they sitting in their closet crying while the kids are screaming downstairs because they can't get it together? Are they hiding the financials from their spouse because they're so ashamed at what they've done and they don't know how to turn it around? Have they gained so much weight that they can't stand looking into their closet anymore because every piece of clothing that they pick out is going to make them feel awful about themselves? What is the pain that they're in? How can you help them? Go from there. Right from there. Create content from there. Those are the people, the souls, the hearts, the brains that need your help. So I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to create more clients in your life, how to bring those clients into your circle. So it starts with content, right? Content that actually hits their heart, content that speaks to them in a way they want to be spoken to, and a content that feels good for you in a way that's really helpful and valuable. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about how to bring more clients into your circle. You guys are amazing, and I love you so much. And your comments make me so happy. And I love these emojis. I go right to the emojis, by the way. My brain sees it quick, and I love those. So if I missed anything, I will go back to it, I promise. But we have a celebration day today with our clients, so we're going to get glammed up. I have my outfit. I've got to go to get dressed up, and we're going to prom, kind of, graduation. So I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing Monday. For those of you who are observing Memorial Day, my heart is with you. And for everybody else around the world, I will see you tomorrow. Take care, guys.